Cats, what's happening? Come on in. Join me in the man cave. How are you all doing today? You know, if you've watched my channel for a while, you've probably heard my story about, when I was young, my dad had to raise 5 of us boys, I being the oldest. And my dad was very strict Baptist. He was the Sunday school teacher, the Sunday school deacon. He was the choir director. And when they had the church service, he was up there leading the music, waving his arms. And we even cleaned the church on the weekend, on the Saturdays. So it was sinful for us to use any curse words around the house. In fact, if you said poop, get your mouth washed out with a bar of soap. It was that strict. Anyways, when I turned 18, I left the house. I just had it up to here with my dad's regime and said, I'm going to do my own thing. And I got a full-time job with the park system. And when I first walked into that shop, there was about 6 older gentlemen in there of different degrees. They were all, just low-class blue-collar guys that the one guy was from West Virginia, another guy was from the inner city, and one guy was a real old-timer. But in working with these older guys, I was like a 19-year-old kid, and these guys are like in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They were slinging around the F word quite a bit. In fact, it was a regular part of their vocabulary on the job. Well, that was all new to me because I didn't curse and I certainly didn't use the F word. But it didn't take long before they began to rub off on me, and the next thing you know, it came flying off on my lips. Peer pressure, I had to be one of the boys. And before long, I'd be on the job just letting it fly left and right like it was nothing. Of course, I always had a pretty good habit about not bringing it home with me. When I came home, I was just an angel, and nothing vulgar came out of my mouth. Nowadays, and I'm sure you guys can join me with this, I'm out riding the bike. Somebody cuts me off in a car, so, like they don't see me. It just comes out of my mouth like vomit. I mean, it's like road rage. I sometimes I stop and think to myself, where did that come from? Because the profanities that come out of my lips are enough to make a sailor blush. I don't use that kind of stuff everyday life, but when somebody cuts me off and when I'm in traffic, oh boy, I mean, it's almost involuntary, It's like I don't even think about it. It just comes boiling out, and then later I'm like, I can't believe I said that. But I got to be careful too, because I don't want to provoke a road rage situation. And it's all too common nowadays where bikers can really get themselves in a situation. I mean, you see all kinds of videos online now. There's one where the guy's on the expressway and the car starts trying to cut him off and trying to ram him, and he actually kicks the side of the car with his foot. And I think the car ends up losing control and crashing in the median strip or something like that. But there's other videos too where these bikers get ticked off when somebody cuts them off, and this thing now is where they come up alongside the vehicle. They'll ride right up alongside and they'll just wham, they take the side mirror right off, and that's provoking a very serious situation. A lot of times these bikers, they'll bust a mirror, and then they take off 100 miles an hour, and the vehicle's not in a place to catch up with them either, so they get away with it. I remember back many, many years ago when I was much younger. I was probably in my 20s, and I was riding with a club, about 6 guys, and I was kind of in the back, and there was a car, like a BMW black sedan, that was coming right up on our tail. And we were in the city, and it was that, traffic light after traffic light, so it was a lot of stop and go traffic, and it was pretty heavy traffic at the time. Well, this black sedan was coming up behind us within inches of our bikes. And one of the guys, kept waving the guy, like, back off, don't be tailgating us. Well, the guy that was tailgating us in the sedan, he found his window of opportunity, and he came shooting around us, and he cut in and knocked the lead guy. I mean, basically hit him right on the side and pushed him all the way into the curb. The lead guy didn't end up dumping it or losing it. He was able to keep his bike up, but his bike actually hit the curb, and he came pretty close to dropping his bike. The guy in the car attempted to cut through traffic, but because he rammed my one buddy off the road, it was all on. So they took off after this car, and I just followed suit, went behind them, all 6 of us. And we got right behind this car again, and the guy was dumb enough to pull off into a parking lot. Well, before I could even get off my bike, the lead guy was already at the guy's door. The guy opened his door and got a face full of knuckles real fast. I mean, my buddy was just pounding on him. And, what do you think you're doing? You're driving me off the road. The rest of us just stood there because he was holding his own. He was beating the crap out of this guy. And the guy that was in the car looked like he was big enough to take care of himself, but I think he was kind of in a situation where he was stuck behind the steering wheel and he really couldn't do a whole lot. Well, to make it even worse, his girl was in the car next to him. She got out of the car and took off running down the street. She was like, no part of this. I'm gone. I don't know where she went. She just disappeared. She just took off running. And we got his license number. One of the guys called the cops, and within a minute or two, the cops showed up. And we told him what happened. There was, 6 of us that witnessed it against him, who was by himself. And you could see the mark on the side of his car where he hit my buddy's bike. And they arrested him right there in the parking lot. So, a win for us, Sorry that the guy had to get his face beat up a little bit, but, he was messing with the wrong group of guys. But, the road rage, it could have been a lot more serious. Somebody can get killed, and it does happen, So, I'm just saying, when I'm out on the bike and somebody cuts me off or something, I have to be a little bit careful about starting something up with somebody. I don't want them to come up behind me and ram me, or come up alongside of me and try to push me off the road, run me off the road with their vehicle. So even though those vulgarities fly out of my mouth, and I'm very angry at the time, I don't want to provoke any more violence, I don't want to start something that's going to end up really bad. And even if it doesn't end up with somebody getting hurt, it could very well end up with somebody being arrested for vehicular manslaughter, or attempted vehicular manslaughter, whatever they call it nowadays. But they take the road rage thing very seriously, and nothing to joke about. And like I said, when you're on a motorcycle, it happens more commonly than not. And I know if it happens to me, it's happening to you guys too. Even just to see somebody yakking on their cell phone is enough to tick me off sometimes, and it starts to come out. And I think, all right, don't don't get too wild here, Itchy. Just kind of take it down a notch, you know. So yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for joining me today for the video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe. I'd love to have you along for this ride. Until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.